Morning. Thank you all for coming and braving the weather. Once again, we're all becoming very steeled to it. I'm Froma Benaroff, and I am on the board of Arts Westchester, and I'm standing in for our president, Jackie Walker. It's wonderful to see all of you out there, so many familiar faces, so many partners in the arts. And of course, that's why we're here. I'm happy for this colorful picture behind me. On behalf of Arts Westchester Board of Directors and staff, I want to welcome you. A very special breakfast for Arts Westchester to launch an exciting new initiative in honor of our upcoming 50th anniversary. I would just like to take a moment to thank David Ziak. Jeff. Fellow board member for arranging this and being our partner. Thank you very much. Now it's my honor to call to the podium Arts Westchester's tireless leader and champion of the arts, Jack Weiss.
Thank you so much, Froma, and thank you all for coming out. Someone asked me, did I sweat this out? Yes, I did. All of the staff sweated it out yesterday, trying to figure out should we cancel or go forward. And I'm really so happy that all of you braved the snow to join us this morning. Some of you may have gotten a gray box like this in the mail. I hope most of you did. This is a campaign that was designed for us by a J. Walter Thompson agency. It was pro bono and paid for by one of our board members. And it was kind of, in my mind, a wake-up call to say the arts are really important to Westchester. Imagine this place without them. So with them, we've got this colorful sign up here, and the object of today's breakfast is hopefully to launch an opportunity for Arts Westchester to build another 50 partnerships in the arts. Most of you who are here today are already partnering with us, and we want to celebrate your leadership as examples of how we have partnered. And we've been doing that for 5 decades. At this point, I would like to introduce our favorite partner. Don't feel badly about this, guys. But it's the big partner. And that's county government, which has been a partner with Arts Westchester for almost 50 years. And I'd like to ask Kevin Plunkett, our Deputy County Executive, to join me here.
Good morning to everyone, and welcome on another snowy Westchester day. Thank you for turning out for what is a very important event here in Westchester County. I am very honored to represent Rob Astorino throughout the county on many of occasions, but I'm very proud as a former board member of Arts Westchester to be here this morning to recognize the partnership that the county has. And it's not just the Astorino administration. In fact, Janet will tell you that we go back and forth, as we should, when we develop budgets. But the arts are one of the most important aspects of what we do in Westchester County. I saw legislator Mike Smith here. I think he had to leave to go to another function, then he was going to come back. And if it's not for legislators like Mike Smith, former board chairman, I see Bill Ryan. Bill, for all you've done for the arts, thank you. And it's a team effort. It's a partnership effort. Just this year, thanks to that partnership with our Board of Legislators, the County Executive, and Janet and Arts Westchester, we appropriated $200,000 for the Challenge Grant. And that type of commitment to Arts Westchester is something that we hope will continue. But we can't do it alone. And we're very proud today to welcome Robert Lynch, Robert and I had a talk. Robert is the president and CEO of Americas for the Arts with an office in Washington and in New York City. And it's because of the opportunities that Robert and his team bring to a county like Westchester that we reach out to our business partners. Because the real partnership has to be the tripartite partnership. Arts Westchester, county government, and private business. And I know so many of you are here today, we're on the board. When I was part of the board, after I went into government, I got off the board. But many of you have kept that commitment up. And I want to thank you on behalf of our county executive and on behalf of all of Westchester County, because nobody wants to get the gray box. Janet is absolutely right. A county, a community without arts is a community that's devoid of sensitivity, and it's devoid of a lack of community. So please keep up the good work. I pledge to you on behalf of the Estrino administration, we will continue to work with Janet and her great team, her staff, many of whom are here. We're proud of that relationship. And coming up to the 50th anniversary in 2015, we need to get 50 new businesses to be committed, and it's the work of everybody in this room to get that done. Rob Estrino has already pledged, has already written letters on behalf of Arts Westchester to many of our community, many of our private businesses. We're going to continue to do that. So thank you for what you do. Let's keep up the work, and I know we will be successful. Janet, congratulations to you and your team. Thank you.
Okay, I think you recognize the county legislators, so I'm going to skip that part, but we missed one, and that's Diana Walker. Diana is here representing Chairman of the Board of Legislators, Mike Kaplowitz, who could not be here today. This is a lot of stuff they're giving me to read here, and I'm going to skip through most of it. I think you know that we were born in 1965, and that was the same year that the National Endowment of the Arts was born, and also the New York State Council on the Arts. So early on, Westchester had its own arts council, now called Arts Westchester. We did that so we would be top of the list, you know, alphabet-wise, and it works. We have a little committee that we've put together for this business partnership effort, and I'd like to recognize Jeff Diziak, Liz Bracken, John Barnes, Brian Carcaterra, Jean Marie Conley, Bert Feeling, Mike Minahan, Joe Oates, David Price, Eileen Mildenberg, and Janet Hassan. So thank you for the committee that has been at work. We're doing this partnership movement here in Westchester, but it is a movement that is a national movement. Arts councils and arts organizations across the country are partnering with business. And I shouldn't say this to you, but it doesn't have to be about money. There are different ways to partner, and we're partnering with so many organizations. In some cases, it is a contribution to the arts. In other cases, it's things like putting art in your lobby of a building, or as we're doing with the Westchester Medical Center, we're buying art from local artists to put in their radiology department. So there are different ways to partner. And the expert on partnering nationally is here today, and that's Bob Lynch, who is the president and CEO of Americans for the Arts. I have to tell you one little funny story. As I was working in Boston some years ago, it's probably almost 20, maybe a little more than 20 years ago, I got a call from Bob Lynch, and he said to me, are you thinking about coming back to the New York area. I was the CEO of the Boston Center for the Arts, and I said, no, I really wasn't thinking about it at that time. Why do you ask? And he said, well, there's this position open in Westchester. And so anyway, that's the beginning of a long story, but it was Bob who did call me and got me thinking about coming back to the New York area. So without further ado, my colleague and the founder of Americans for the Arts, which used to have as many names as Arts Westchester did in the beginning, Bob Lynch, please join us.
So I think I made a pretty good recommendation 20 years ago. I look around this county and read stories about what goes on here, and you should be mighty proud. Boy, are you a hardy lot, though. I wasn't sure I would see anybody here this morning, and it's a packed house, except that table's a little thin over there, but it's a packed house, and I appreciate that, and I think the arts appreciate that. It's really wonderful to see. You know, I live now in Washington, D.C., and this would be Armageddon in Washington, D.C. You know, everything would be stopped for a week. So this is wonderful to see. So I want to thank Froma, and I want to thank Kevin, and particularly want to thank Janet for having me here today and for being such a great partner with Americans for the Arts and for the great work that you're doing here. Now, it's not often that I'm asked to do a 2-hour presentation on cultural policy in America at 8 a.m. On a Tuesday snowy morning, and Janet tells me that that will not be happening today either. But I have been given about 10 minutes to talk to you about a variety of things that relate to arts and business and the advancement of the arts in America. I want to say a special thanks to Jeff, who is the manager of the Ritz-Carlton. Is Jeff here? So I want to say a special thanks to Jeff because I think that there's no better place to weather a blizzard in comfort than a Ritz-Carlton hotel. I also was talking to Janet, and we have 5,000 arts councils, actually 10,000 across America, and 5,000 that we work closely with. And I think every one of them should have the goal that was one of Janet's goals, to have a Ritz-Carlton a block away from the office. Because that, you can see what a partnership that is here. But what I want to particularly say is that this hotel is a great example of the kind of partnerships that we're talking about. If you walk through the hallways out there, you see that this is marked as a destination because of great original art on the walls, great sculpture outside. I woke up this morning to Rhapsody Vermilion, an original print by an artist, Dorothy Gillespie, number 116 out of 123 on my wall, beautiful over to the left of the bed. Every single room has that kind of artistic connection. And what it does is it makes this a competitive advantage to other hotels. It makes it a destination that you want to return to. And so that, I think, is symbolic of what we're talking about here in terms of partnership. Now, Americans for the Arts, this organization, it was formed in 1960. What was interesting about our formation is that at the time there were 100 arts councils like Arts Westchester in America, from the first one in 1947. And when we were formed as 100, we had 3 goals. Let's have more local arts councils, and now there are 10,000 across America. Let's have a national arts council. So our organization was the lobbying entity that advocated for the creation of the National Endowment for the Arts. And then third, we had 4 state arts agencies in existence, and they were our members. Let's have a state arts agency in every state. And through the legislative lobbying that happened, a plank was put into the National Endowment for the Arts legislation that said any state that had a state arts council could get matching money from the federal government. And so there were 4 in 1964, and there were 50 in 1965 when the NEA was formed. And along the way, our great friend David Rockefeller formed our Business Committee for the Arts. the Business Committee for the Arts as the private sector side of the work of Americans for the Arts, bringing together business leaders for the arts and gathering examples like you have here of great connections between the arts and business, partnerships, if you will, between arts and business. And I have Emily Peck, our Vice President for Private Sector Affairs here, to check the accuracy of anything that I have to say. Usually I like to speak unencumbered by accuracy or fact, but today what I say is true because she's sitting there. So at our own annual Business Committee for the Arts BCA 10 Awards, which is this fancy little brochure that we have here, each year we honor 10 businesses, and then in an interesting twist, we honor 2 other businesses for national leadership. So we actually honor 12 businesses at the BCA 10. But that's because we're the Business Committee for the Arts, not the Business Committee for Math. But the 10 businesses, interestingly, would love today, 3 of them at least, because of the kinds of partnerships that we've honored. 3 of them love the snow. So we honored this year Aspen Skiing Company, which would benefit from this, on the positive side. On the other side, we honored the Atlantic Salt Incorporated Company that brings the salt to all of the trucks all across the eastern seaboard. And then for those who get to stay home and just weather the storm, we honored Bacardi USA. So those groups, though, just taking a look at what they do in terms of partnership, the ski group creates cultural experiences that interacts with skiing and the slopes, art in unexpected places on the slopes as an interesting way to engage. The Salt Company wants to be a good neighbor, and so it has a marine industrial operation that they turn into an arts festival and a light festival to make a nice opportunity to interact with neighbors and community. And the Bacardi folks are particularly interested in international relations, and so they do a lot of international art collecting and art sharing. So there's always something that these groups are doing, and they do it to avoid getting the gray box of shame that we have here. Instead, they want this, the fabulous color version that shows what the vibrancy of the arts actually is. Now, I want to applaud and celebrate specifically businesses in Westchester. I wish I could celebrate them all, but the sea of logos that you see here on the back of a report that was done this year, I think really illustrates all of the different kinds of amazing partnerships that are here. And I can tell you, part of my work, I get to go to a different city every week, somewhere in America. And there is no place that is working as hard for business connectivity and with the number of business connections that I see here. It demonstrates the breadth that you have here. And several of the groups on your list are key to Americans for the Arts as well. And I just want to single out a couple of them. The folks from Aetna who are here, could you raise your hands? So Aetna, as one example, it's a group that got one of our BCA 10 awards, but Floyd Green at Aetna is now on our board of directors. And one of the things that we've partnered with Aetna on is they have a whole series of employee music participation forums, like the Aetna Jazz Band and the Espa Gospel Choir, and we've had them come and perform at our BCA 10 events or at other national business forums. And then the folks from Con Edison who are here. There's the Con Edison folks. So we've had terrific connection, again, another BCA 10 awardee, because of Con Edison's support of our Minority Leadership Development Program that we have. So you'll hear about others today on that sea of logos, but those are a couple that I just wanted to call out as you celebrate, and as I'm here to celebrate, this 50 new businesses and business partnerships for the 50th anniversary. Now, I love my work. I get to scour the country for great arts and great business partnerships, which I believe are at the core of making America better, making American business better. My mother wanted me to be a dentist, My dad wanted me to be a lawyer. I went to college and studied creative writing, focusing on poetry, where the big bucks are. Got out, I discovered that all the poet jobs were already taken. And in fact, I scoured the classifieds, I saw no poet ads in there. I later learned, however, that poetry and literature and the arts are a basic and a wonderful preparation, not just for something specific, but for everything. And I also discovered that poems can be powerful too. And so a very brief one that I'd like to say for you, very brief, by the poet William Carlos Williams from neighboring New Jersey. And it is this. He says, "It is difficult to get the news from poems, yet men die miserably every day for lack of what is found there." Men die miserably every day for lack of what is found in poetry. Art is important. Art is important as a partner in solving some of the great social problems that we have today. If I am in conversation with the League of Cities or the U.S. Conference of Mayors or the National Association of Counties, they all pretty much, in their annual surveys about what's keeping leaders at the local level up at night, they all agree on the same things. First 3 or 4 things are all about jobs and the economy, and then it's about crime, race relations, education, health issues, infrastructure. Those are the things. The arts are not on that list. But partnership, and I'm very proud to see our logo up there with your logo, partnership is the key. Because the arts can be part of the solution to every one of those problems. And America slowly and perhaps unknowingly believes that too. Wall Street Journal called America recently a nation of culture. And so if the Wall Street Journal says it, we here in this room know it must be true. But what they said were the indicators was that public radio had tripled in the last 20 years. There's more high school diplomas today by 8-fold than there were in the 50s. But the big one was that in the last 10 years, sales of Red Table wine had grown by 150%. So Janet, all those wine and cheese receptions, very important to the cultural and economy of the nation. But in America, arts has been, in my opinion, a series of surges forward and big setbacks in this very practical nation. First big setback, 1620, Pilgrims, followed by Puritans. You've seen the pictures. This was a grim group. They outlawed music, they outlawed dance, they outlawed theater, they outlawed the visual arts, they even outlawed certain colors, like the color purple, so that New England landscape 400 years later still reflects some of that thinking and some of those policies. Just last week now, 400 years later, I had a letter in the New York Times co-signed with Robert Redford, who we partner with on a lot of things, and it was a letter that was contesting the Congressional Budget Committee's take and statement that art benefits only the rich. So the same difficulties, the same problems in a practical nation of understanding the value of the arts that we had 400 years ago, we're still working on today, which is why there are groups like Americans for the Arts at Arts Westchester. And yet, General George Washington, way back in those days, loved theater, and he used to commission plays like Addison's Cato before battles, before Valley Forge. The arts as a partner to solve a problem. The founding fathers, through literature, often used literature to come up with quotes that we know as great American quotes, like "Give me liberty" or "Give me death," or "I regret that I have one life to give for my country," but both influenced by lines in plays and literature of the day. A sad, depressed poet in the early 1800s, amateur poet, went on to become a president and used his art to write 77 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation. Perhaps the greatest poem in the American language. The partnership movement that we have, that you have here and that we have, tries to celebrate these kinds of connections between business and the arts and how together we can make for a better nation. And we have some interesting examples. We have hundreds of them on our website either the Americans for the Arts website partnership movement or directly to the partnership movement. And I'll just throw out a few of them from other places around the country. Unexpected places like Kohler, the Kohler Company. They make porcelain products like toilets, like the ones up in my room in the Ritz, are Kohler, I noticed. And they're in Wisconsin. But one of the things that they've done since 1974 is to have artists in residence come in and work in the Kohler operation. Porcelain artists who get to use the really huge equipment that they're working on, and then the employees get the benefit of seeing some creative work happen right in front of them. And Kohler claims a lot of new product development and creativity has come out of that. Or take Payless Shoes. Payless Shoes wanted to expand its market share, and they partnered with American Ballet Theater, ABT, the great ballet company, and they thought about shoes together. And what happened is that the ballet company and all dancers have come now with better product, better shoe, and Payless has a whole new product line to offer. We talked about Line Financial in Kansas City, who came up with a rock and roll band to represent the enjoyment of the employees, but also to represent the company in a fun way, a financial management company. And so the band is called Toxic Assets, and they seem to do pretty well. So there are many, many others, and in the interest of time, I'm not really going to go into them. But what I want to say is that you travel into any town in America today, and if you pay attention in any town, you'll see that the airports and the ports of entry are animated and branded and made unique by art and made competitive by public art all across the country. That's why there are so many 1% and 2% for the arts programs throughout our nation. You go to downtowns, like this downtown, and you'll see the development of downtown anchored by arts institutions and arts facilities and renovated buildings like the home of Arts Westchester. You'll see neighborhoods revitalized, and right along that revitalization path you'll see galleries and studios and theaters. This is written about but often forgotten about. You open any paper and you will see that other nations are competing with the United States, wanting people from Westchester to spend their money in Chile on Chilean art and coming to see their museums and enjoying their visual arts. And so we, in our own self-interest, need to make more partnerships with business and the arts. And you will see places like the Ritz-Carlton Hotel, everywhere you look, use the arts, like those lights that you see right above you there, uniquely and interestingly making this meeting room something to remember. Businesses in Westchester see this. I've seen it in the materials, and I wish I could talk for 2 hours about it. Generals have known it, like General George Washington, or recently our board member, General Nolan Bivens, who went and testified before Congress and said that support for the arts in America today is a national security priority. A national security priority because other nations and other peoples need to know us better and not have their first encounter with us be through the military. Presidents have known this since George Washington. What's the return on investment of all of this? Well, I think that if business and the arts partner better, if we do more of these kinds of wonderful projects, what we get is a better child, a better town, a better nation, a better world. And I applaud Westchester for being part of that change. Thank you all very much.
Good job. Thank you so much, Bob, for coming to Westchester and inspiring us all. At this point, I would like to ask a couple of our partners to come join me at the podium here and just say a few words about the partnerships that we've had together. I'm not going to call on everybody, as you would not want to sit here for such a long program, but let me ask Robert Wise to come up and say a few words. Robert has been a board member for 10 years of Arts Westchester, and now he's an emeritus.
Thank you, Janet. First of all, I'd like to congratulate Jeff and Luis Capelli for this terrific facility that is a great representation of our county. As a developer, I usually visit the ladies' room and men's room to see the quality of the facility. In this case, I was just amazed of what a wonderful men's room you have. Frankly, the best I have ever seen. Unfortunately, I was leaving, I noticed I was in the ladies' room. True story, by the way. I'm a former board member. I spent 10 years at the council. This is just a terrific organization. As you can tell, I'm an immigrant. 30 years ago, when I decided to move to Westchester, the active arts life of this county was a major factor in our family to choose Westchester. And years later, as a corporate resident of this county, we think that that's one of the most attractive features we have to offer. We are right next to New York City, but we have our own thriving arts life in Westchester, a very vibrant one. So I think that it's something for us to enjoy, for something for us to be part of, but at the same time it's a responsibility for all of us to support and to join the effort to continue improving the arts life of our county. So as a corporate resident, as I mentioned, in our buildings, we participate in many ways, and we are looking forward to continue the partnership that we have with Arts Westchester. Thank you.
As was mentioned before, one of our new partners is Aetna, and I'm pleased to ask Tanya Hall, who represents the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic region for Aetna, and she'll tell you about a rather unique partnership that we have just entered into with Aetna.
Thanks, Janet. Good morning, everybody, and it's good to see that the snow is traveling throughout my region. So, as Janet mentioned, I have the pleasure of actually covering for Aetna everything from New England down through West Virginia. So, as you can imagine, this winter has been interesting for me from a travel perspective. On behalf of Aetna, myself, Susan and I are here representing Aetna, and you might be wondering why a healthcare company would be involved in the arts. You think, okay, well, I know Aetna does runs, they do walks, they do all that kind of good stuff. But I have to tell you that one of the reasons that I decided to join Aetna about 16 months ago was because of their commitment to the arts and community, and making sure that Aetna's brand had an opportunity to kind of get into the community and really penetrate and help make a difference in the lives of people. So we're all about empowering people to live healthier lives at Aetna, and obviously arts is one of the ways that we can do that. It was interesting when I mentioned to the Aetna Foundation that we had been asked to come to the breakfast this morning. The lady who oversees the regional grants program said, I remember this application and project and program, and I remember that it was cool. And, you know, as you can imagine, our foundation gets hundreds of applications a year. And as part of that committee process, I have an opportunity to review a lot of the things that are happening in communities across my region. And obviously Arts Westchester was one of the ones that we felt that we needed to make a commitment in. You know, obviously there's limited funds, there's so much good work that happens in communities, but we were looking for unique partners, unique opportunities, and unique ways to bring the arts to life in the communities that really needed help in doing that. And obviously Arts Westchester is one of those ways. So I had written down all these little notes that I wanted to say, but I do want to say about the program specifically that our Aetna Foundation funded healthy food equals happy children. How many of you are parents? Yes, me too. So I have 2 teenagers, one of which, my son, who's 13, is just coming into the knowledge that mommy really does know what she's talking about healthy food. So I'm proud to say that not last night, 2 nights ago, he actually told me that he enjoyed the salmon that I cooked for him versus the chicken fingers and fries that are his normal go-tos. And he turned down the traditional food, and he's happy as a result. He's on his way to the MBA, in case any of you are wondering. So I don't know, he's not quite got your height yet, but he's definitely on his way. But the Healthy Food Equals Happy Children is a program that really puts together, obviously, all the great things that we know about healthy veggies, healthy eating, fruits and vegetables, grains and all that good stuff, and then takes that and helps empower the children, 100 of which in 3rd grade, are working with artists to create murals within their schools. So just the fact that they get to take some ownership in the creativity of this wonderful mural that will take place and be installed in their schools is part of what I think made the program so fundable. So once again, congratulations. We're excited about everything that Arts Westchester is doing. We're glad to be part of the family. I'm not sure why we took so long to get here, but we're glad to be here. And once again, congratulations on the 50 years.
So we are sending artists into the schools to actually have the kids do murals in the cafeteria where other kids will see it and be inspired. Let me ask Jane Solnick, Director of Public Affairs of Con Edison, to come up.
It's already been mentioned that Con Ed's been a long supporter of the arts, but I'd just like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the dedicated and creative staff of Arts Westchester for their undying enthusiasm for promoting the arts throughout the county. Con Ed's proud to be a sponsor of an organization that so enthusiastically reaches out to the entire county. Thank you, and best of luck for this 50th anniversary.
We're going to ask each of you to find us another partner at the end of this lovely gathering. So think about, as you hear from some of your colleagues, are there other organizations that you know of that could benefit from a partnership with Arts Westchester, and also introduce us so that we can help customize a partnership. Frank Matthias, he is the Director of Communications of Curtis Instruments. Frank is a partner, as is Curtis Instruments. An unlikely partner, but a really swell partner.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I'm Frank Matthias. You know, I don't know about you, but I got 2.5 foot of snow on my house. You know? It feels like I'm living in an igloo. You know, the bad thing about that is, you know, like a little bit of global warming and like no privacy. So anyway, you know, we made it here today, right? And first of all, thank you very much, Arts Westchester and Janet and everybody for inviting us here today and for inviting Curtis Instruments. And let me tell you just a little bit about Curtis Instruments. We've been in Westchester since 1960, but nobody knows us because we are a highly specialized engineering company, and we design and build components, that's systems and controls, instrumentation for electric vehicles. So right away you're thinking cars, right? Well, we really specialize in green technology, zero emission technology, things like wheelchair systems. I hope you never need them, but we believe we make the best wheelchair system in the world. And if you drive a golf car or a forklift or a neighborhood electric vehicle, chances are that you will know Curtis Instruments because we make those vehicles go. Yet, in all those years in Westchester, people drive past our building and they don't know us because we don't sell any products locally. That means people drive past the building, they say, oh, well, that's a good building. There's another good building, but they don't know what we do. So my job as the Director of Corporate Communications for Curtis internationally is also to get the point across of who we are and what we do, because we want people to know us. We are good citizens, good corporate citizens. We are important members of the community. We are involved in our communities where we live. So for that reason, as an export company, I should add, we export to China, we export to India, we export to Europe. And again, people locally don't know us. So for that reason, we've connected with Arts Westchester, which is a wonderful publication. And we are regular advertisers in this publication because this publication, through Arts Westchester, allows us to reach not just the local business community, but the local culture community. And people read the publication and they have increased recognition and awareness of our company. So it's been what I would refer to as a highly successful company. And it's a win-win situation all around. So for us, it's a business decision because we want to be successful with our outreach. So you might ask, well, why would a technical company, an engineering company of all, advertise and partner with an arts organization? Well, you could on one level say that art's important. It enriches our lives, in our communities, in our homes, in our businesses. But it is the outward manifestation of our humanity. It is something that connects us together. It's something that is an expression that requires the help of organizations like Arts Westchester. Why do we work with this organization in particular? Because the work they have done and the work they are doing to support artists, musicians, visual art, music, folklore, and many other types of artistic expression, they're just amazing. They're paramount. They can't be really summarized in a few quick words here by me today. But working with them has been a wonderful experience. And they need the help of us all. They need the support of organizations like Curtis and of yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Frank. Okay, I'm going to try to move this along a little quickly and ask Kathy Schaefer, Tri-State Regional President of First Niagara Bank, who we have a wonderful partnership with.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Kathy Schaefer, and unlike a lot of you folks, we are about a 140-year-old bank, but we're very new to this community. So as we have kind of developed our strategy for how do we get the name First Niagara Bank known in this area, we've kind of gone through an extensive screening process on who are the logical partners to help us get the word out that not only are we a great bank to be a client of, but we're just a great corporate citizen. So it's been a terrific partnership so far, and I look forward to continuing for many years. And just on a personal note, I come from a very competitive family, but we have kind of a twisted idea of competition. Growing up, my brother and I had a competition on who could learn to play the most musical instrument. So this is a very good tie-in for me. By the way, my brother won. I have to say that in public, he learned to play sitar, and I just threw the white flag in that. But this is really an essential organization in the area. It's not only good for us as an employer, it's great for our employees, and it's really wonderful for business. And I should have you know that after the luncheon I attended in April, right after joining First Niagara, I was at the bank 2 days. I met someone about a week later at an event, and they specifically sought me out because of our support for the arts. It wasn't because I was a great banker, it's because of our support for the arts. I can't think of a better dollar spent, so we look forward to continuing it.
And finally, I'd like to ask Michael Petrillo and Mark Alexander from the 550 Locust Development Partners. One or both.
Good morning, I'm Mark Alexander, this is Michael Petrillo. Together we took a property that had been abandoned by its development team in Mount Vernon in 2008 and took it out of foreclosure, completed the building, and built a new community called the Horizon Fleetwood. You know, it isn't all about money, Janet, but it is partly about money. You know, businesses are in the business to make money, and the residential real estate business at the rental side is about building community. And so from my standpoint, the interest that I have in art is at the nexus of building community. And one of the exciting things about what we've done and it's really a very small project. What we've done is simply allow Arts Westchester to come into our building, curate a revolving show of art by local artists in the public areas of the building. And every once in a while, Michael, who's the managing member of the partnership, decides he likes something and buys it. And so eventually we're going to kind of work our way out of this relationship and take it to a new building because he's filling up the walls slowly and surely. But the testament to this is two things. One, we have almost no vacancy rate. This is the first Class A market rate rental to be built in this community in over 40 years. We have no vacancy, virtually none, and we're outpricing the waterfront communities in Yonkers and downtown New Rochelle, meaning we're higher priced than those communities. So art is a part of our amenity package. It's a part of our building of a community in Fleetwood, and we're very, very happy to be partners with Arts Westchester in that effort. Thank you very much.
So when we chose these projects, we looked at some big ones and some little ones. And what we do with the Horizon is a small project. And not only do you allow us to put the artwork there, but you fund our doing so, just to make that clear. But they have a new building that they're designing, and we hope to be involved in an artistic way with this new project. All of you are partners. I mean, I could go around this room and just everyone here has been a partner with us on one level or another, and we truly appreciate all the things that you've done for us. Now in our 50th year, we want to accelerate a little bit the involvement of corporations with Arts Westchester and the arts. Somebody mentioned airports, and I wanted to also mention that with the Astorino administration, a long-time dream of mine is to begin to build some art projects at the Westchester County Airport. And the county is very interested in our working with them on that. we appreciate the opportunity to do that, because when visitors come to Westchester, we really want them to see that we are a creative bunch of people living here and doing business here. And it is the first impression that people do get when they come here. And I see Natasha Caputo, our very fine director of our tourism office, shaking her head. Yes, it really does work. So thank you so much for being here this morning. I hope that we've somewhat inspired you. If you do know of other corporations or business people who would like to partner with Arts Westchester, we'd really be proud to work with you. Someone mentioned Bacardi, and Tom Lala is here from Pernod Ricard, and we do the red wine and cheese thing, lots of it. So anyway, thank you for braving this morning. I really appreciate the fact that you all came out for this. And what do I have to do?
Invite them to take them out before they go.
Oh, the best part, okay. Yes, I forgot all about that. We have a present for you. It's very small, not a big deal, but it's a mug, shows that you are our partner, and we thank you for doing that, and we thank you for all you do for the arts here in Westchester. So please come up and get your mug. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tanya Hall, and I serve as the Community Relations Director for Aetna. I manage deepening Aetna's presence for the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast region, so basically everything from New England down through West Virginia. And here at Aetna, we believe in investing in the arts. Some folks might think it's natural for us to support runs and walks and races, but we know that empowering people with arts is part of what empowers people to live healthier lives. And that's what we like to do at Aetna, is empower people to live healthier lives. So we're proud to support Arts Westchester as they're nearing their 50th anniversary. The program that we're supporting specifically through our Aetna Foundation is the Healthy Kids, Happy Kids initiative. So with the $25,000 grant, we're enabling them to reach 100 third graders in underserved communities throughout Westchester County, and really helping them to understand how to make healthy food choices by creating food diaries, focusing on healthy activity, and then of course the caption or the highlight of the event will be when the students are actually able to help take ownership of the program by helping to create a theme for the murals that are being installed in their lunchrooms, in their schools, in their communities. So once again, congratulations to Arts Westchester. Aetna is proud to be part of the family, and we're looking forward to continuing our work with you in the future. Congrats again. Thank you.
I'm Frank Matthias, Director of Curtis Marketing Communications, in charge of advertising worldwide. One of the problems Curtis Instruments has as an engineering company that specializes in electric vehicle technology is that we don't sell any products locally, which means that it's difficult for us to connect ourselves with the local community because most people don't know what it is that we do. So therefore, our advertising in arts news and the publication of Arts Westchester has been tremendous in helping us promote our name and increase recognition and awareness of Curtis Instruments in the community. Thank you.
I'm Jeff Ziak. I'm the General Manager at the Ritz-Carlton here in Westchester. Arts Westchester is a critical part of our community. Arts is so important. It's important for our children, for education, for the community, and our culture. I look forward to being a board member for a very long time.
Hi, I'm Paula Kelleher. I'm the Director of Marketing for the Westchester and the Galleria at White Plains. Both personally and professionally, I am a huge supporter of the Arts Westchester. I congratulate them on their 50th anniversary, and I just look forward to really working side by side with them throughout the next year and perhaps after that, which I really hope. I think a world without arts, music, and literature would not be a world for us to live in and pass on to our children and grandchildren. So I applaud them. I would do whatever I could to support them. Thank you.
I'm Emily Peck, Vice President of Private Sector Initiatives at Americans for the Arts, and I'm very pleased to be at Arts Westchester today talking about arts and business partnerships. We at Americans for the Arts are incredibly supportive of the work that Arts Westchester has done to build partnerships with the businesses in their community. We know through our work with the partnership movement the value of partnerships with arts and business bring to communities. We look at all of the different ways that partnering with the arts advances business goals, from recruiting employees to engaging employees in the workplace to really building a stronger community. What we heard in all of these presentations today, whether it was Con Ed or Aetna, was the different ways these arts partnerships have helped Westchester bring in new employees, bring in tourists, build a better community. So we're really proud to be able to support this work with the work that we do nationally with the Partnership Movement campaign.
Hi, I'm Bob Lynch, President and CEO of Americans for the Arts. We're the national organization for the advancement of arts and arts education, headquartered in Washington, D.C., with offices in New York City and thousands of members, organizations and individuals all across America. What I'm in Westchester to talk about is the partnership between business and the arts in America and in Westchester. Americans for the Arts has a program called the Partnership Movement. It's part of our Business Committee for the Arts, and the whole point of it is to find examples of businesses who are working with the arts and primarily getting a benefit for the business out of that relationship. We all know that if business gives resources or help to the arts benefit. But what we don't know as much is how business itself can benefit by having some kind of a connection to the arts, either more creativity among the workers or a better brand in the community, or maybe even some creative new product design, all of those kinds of things. One of the things that's exciting about being here in Westchester is that Westchester is doing its own partnership program, finding 50 new partnerships with business and the arts to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Westchester. In the past, Americans for the Arts has proudly worked with Arts Westchester on economic impact studies. We do a national economic impact study of the nonprofit arts. One of our partners in that process is Arts Westchester, and out of that process, Westchester gets a set of documents about economic impact of the nonprofit arts and jobs right here in this county. So we're very excited to be connecting with this Westchester business partnership, business arts program, and looking forward to coming up with more stories that we can use nationally, put on our website, and help get more businesses all across America to do more for the arts.